Hey everyone, Jason here, digital marketing consultant, and in this sales funnel build guide, you're going to learn how to build your entire sales funnel from scratch. So type table of contents in the description because this is going to be a long one, along with some affiliate links to the software recommendations I have. And when you stick around to the end, I'll be going through how you can actually start collecting payments for free if you don't want to use the paid checkout solution that we recommend. So the very first thing you want to do as you dive in here is make sure you check out that link in the description. I know there's a ton of links down there, but the first one you want to click on is a link to this template here that you're looking at, which is what you're going to want to fill out as you create your sales funnel. This is just a very basic template that not only will make sure that you have all the information you need to set up your sales funnel, but also has some copywriting formulas to help you with your landing page copywriting, along with some direct links to some trainings that we have and some code that we'll be using later. So if we scroll all the way down, you'll actually see that we also have an email sequence pretty much done for you. So all you have to do is write your emails using these 5 different templates. So as you download that, we're ready to get started. So the first thing we want to do after we've got that template ready to go is actually head over to MailerLite. You can set up your account for free. I've got an affiliate link in the description, and you're going to want to come over here to Sites. I'm going to skip the boring onboarding process, and it'll take a couple days for your account to get approved, but you can start doing this while your account's being approved from anywhere from 500 to 1,000 subscribers, absolutely free, which is why I really like this software. So the first thing we'll do is go ahead and click on Create a Landing Page. So this is going to be the page that we're going to start collecting our leads from. So I'll go ahead and give our landing page a name and a quick little code here. Coming up with a 3 to 4 letter code for each one of your funnels is going to be very helpful to help you stay organized across all of the automations that we're going to be setting up. So I'll go ahead and click on Save and Continue. And our funnel code here is just going to be M134. Doesn't mean anything, not really, other than the fact that it's going to help keep us organized. And next, MailerLite is going to ask us what group we should be adding people to who have entered their name and email on our landing page. Now, I recommend having 2 different groups here. You're actually going to have a group that represents everyone, and then you're also going to have a group that represents people who just opted in. So if I go back to our template over here and I go all the way down to email sequence, you can see that there's actually a little cheat sheet here for you, a cheat table to help you understand where we should be adding and removing people as they go through our email sequence, because we don't want to keep sending sales emails if they've already if they've already purchased. And of course, if they are done with our sales sequence, we want to make sure that they get put in the right sequence next. So the first sequence we want to add them to is a 7-day sales sequence. So our name here is actually going to be M134, and we can just call this sales. And this is the name of the list isn't going to be visible to people. So we'll go ahead and click on Add New Group and call the group name M134 Sales. So you see why using a little code at the beginning is going to help you from pulling your hair out. So we'll go ahead and create that. And then that is the list or group on our list that we're going to use when people enter their name and email. So we'll go ahead and click Save and Continue. And next, we're actually going to be choosing our template. Now, they don't have the greatest selection in templates by any means, but that doesn't matter because I'm going to show you how to quickly put together a landing page irrespective of what offer you're making, because when it comes to landing pages, simple is better. So I'm just going to go ahead and randomly select this first one, and it really doesn't matter because we're going to delete everything from this landing page and start from scratch. There are very few elements you actually need on your landing page to be successful in getting your sales funnel up and running. And of course, most importantly, actually getting people to enter their name and email, because if they don't, then no one's ever going to see our sales messages, right? So we'll come up here to Actions and click on Remove Content Blocks. And this is going to literally remove everything on the page, giving us a nice blank template. So all we need is a headline, and we're just going to click and drag a couple times because it can take a while. Come on. There we go. It just takes 3 or 4 times sometimes to get the first element on there. And then forms, we want a sign up form that has an image next to it, and we'll go ahead and drop that right underneath. And then the last thing we need will come up here is some text. And with that, those are the only 3 elements you need for a successful landing page. Of course, now it's time to populate it with some text and some images. So I'll go back over to my funnel template here, and I've actually gone ahead and written the landing page copy already, but you can check out this template for some landing page copy formulas, along with some additional trainings on specifically how to write the landing page. So I'll go ahead and copy my headline here, and then I'll come over to our headline here and drop it in. I'll quickly go over some of the formatting options, but I won't waste too much of our time here. You can change how narrow or wide the text is. I like doing medium. Of course, you can change the spacing, drag it up, drag it down. I think 50 or 40 is good enough. And then of course we can change the font style. So you can also create global settings for your font style, so you don't have to go and change the font style individually for each one of your elements. But we'll just bring this up to 47. And since it's YouTube, let's make it some sort of red. That red looks good enough. And then we'll go ahead and center the text, and we'll be good to go. So that pretty much does it for our headline. Next up, we have our bullet points. And for heading number 1 here, we're just going to say you're going to get or you're going to learn. So if you're offering some sort of video training or webinar, you can say you're going to learn. If you're offering some sort of PDF or ebook, then you could say you're going to get. Or you can reverse them. It's not really all that important. So you're going to learn, and then this next part is where MailerLite is actually still a little bit behind the times, and that is they don't actually have the bullet point function. So how I've jerry-rigged this is I've actually used the checkmark emoji and a little bit of HTML, which is in the document right here, to create our bullet points. So all you have to do is copy this little line of text. We'll go back over to MailerLite, and we'll click on this little icon for HTML, and we'll just select all of that, delete it, and then drop those in, and now we have bullets 1 through 4. If you want to create more than 4 bullets, even though I don't recommend that, you can just copy this string right here and then hit enter and paste in another bullet point, right? So I'll go ahead and Control Z on that, or Command Z if you're on a Mac, and then all you have to do is highlight the bullet and the number and drop in your text. So I'll do this once on camera, and then we'll go ahead and fast forward to me being done, because you don't need to watch me copy and paste all 3 times, right? So we'll go ahead and copy the text that we want. We'll come back over here and we'll click on paste, and now we have our bullet points. So we'll fast forward to when I'm done. And just like that, we have our 3 bullet points on the page. So the next thing we want to do is modify what our subscribe actual form looks like. So instead of saying subscribe, we're going to say watch now, and then we're going to want to change our form element. So we'll click on form at the top. We will add a field here, and we want our field to be just their name, label as name, so we can go ahead and click on save, and then we'll put our name on top of the email, and we'll click save so we have all of this. So it's not going to win any design awards by any means. We can definitely mess with some of the spacing and the button size. So let's go ahead and mess with the button size a little bit and the button color. So we can come down here to the call to action button color, and we can change the color to something else. What's most important is that it stands out. It should be a color that's different than everything else on the page. So we can just go ahead with orange. You can also change the placement of the button, so if you want it to go left or right, or you want it to be full width. And then to make the button bigger, we pretty much just want to change the font size. So we'll bring the font size up to 26. Watch now, go ahead and click save. It's a little big and obnoxious, but it'll work fine. And then we'll go ahead and click on save. Of course, there's tons of other things you can do, like change the hover color. You can see it turns red. But the only other thing we need to do here is go ahead and change the image. So for our image, we want some sort of image that represents what the people who are opting into our list are actually going to receive. So here I've taken a screenshot of the free training, so I'll go ahead and select that to be the image to represent the actual offer. So as you can see, there's a lot of extra white space here. We could definitely play a lot more with the placement, and if we wanted to, we can just come over here to settings, and then we can change how big or small the content appears on the screen, and we can also change the block ratio. So if we want to make the image bigger, we can, or if we want to make them equal size, we can. We can also do some fun things like change things up so that the actual form just shows up below the bullets and the image, so things are a little more centered, but that's okay. We're going quick 80-20 here. So that's pretty much all we need for our landing page. The reason I have the bottom text here is because you most likely need to have some sort of legal disclaimer links in your niche or industry. Of course, this is in no way, shape, or form legal advice or telling you what the advertising platforms you're using needs, but as a general rule of thumb, you probably need some sort of disclaimer and privacy policy and terms of use, but I will leave that up to you and your legal counsel to figure out what you need there. Now, the other thing we have is the success page. Now, you can edit the success page in a couple of ways. If you're going to be offering some sort of PDF style or book style offer, then creating a success page that shows the book and says, hey, it's on your way to your email is a good way to go. If you're going to be doing some sort of webinar or masterclass or training that includes a sales pitch, then you're going to want to direct people to that page and not this page. So that's what I'm doing here. So I'm actually not going to use the success page. It's very important though. Don't put your sales message on this page though. You want your sales message on a separate page, because what this is it's not actually going to give you a separate URL, so it's going to be very hard to track. So we can go ahead and click on save and publish because we have our landing page and it's good to go. And if you decide to pay an extra $10 a month for some advanced landing page features, you can actually create your own, use your own domains, which is very nice. So I'm going to go ahead, use one of our subdomains and change up our landing page name so it's really clear for us internally which landing page this funnel is designed for. I'll go ahead and choose a favicon image. They say 16 by 32, but it can also be 55 by 35. And what this does is it makes sure that if you look here at the top, Thrivecart and MailerLite, that this changes to your brand. It's something so simple and easy to really make sure that your landing page looks a lot more professional. And before we click save and continue, I just want to note that you should be adding in your Google Analytics, your Facebook Pixel, your Google Tag Manager, your AdWords tracking, your Google Ads tracking, all that fun stuff. If you're interested in learning how to do that, I'll link up to a free Tag Manager course that walks through all that, but you definitely want this set up here. SEO settings, we don't need it to be indexed by search engines, and we'll go ahead and click on save and continue. And before we do anything else, we're going to go ahead and copy this URL, and we'll go back to our landing page organizer here and drop in our landing page URL, because one thing that you'll start to deal with when you start building lots of these is it'll be really easy to lose track of where all your links are. So we'll go back over to MailerLite here, and now it's time to go back to sites, and we're actually going to create our sales page. So this is where we're jerry-rigging MailerLite a little bit because it's technically not designed to do this, but we can get it to work. So we're going to create another landing page, but this time it's going to be M134, and it's going to be our sales page, right? So this is going to be our sales page or limited time offer. So we'll go ahead and click on save and continue. We're going to select the same group, and we're going to select the same template, and we're going to clear everything again. M134 sales, save and continue. We'll select the book template and then continue. And just like we did before, we'll come up here to actions and remove all the content blocks. Whoops, we gotta click in there, remove, you can spell that right. There we go. And this time, all we need is a headline and we need a video. And that's all we're gonna need on this page, other than, I said like that, all we need on this page. There is one more thing. We're doing 3 elements again. We also need a button. Where's the button? There's the button. All right, the button at the bottom. So this is all we need for this page. So we can go ahead and go back to our funnel template here, because I've already put together what I need for my sales page. And as you can see, it's a lot easier to build things when you've thought about this ahead of time, and this is what the template is supposed to help you with. So our headline is going to be YouTube Growth Master Class. So that's what we're going to put as our headline. We're just going to come over here to settings. We're going to remove a little bit of the spacing, but we're going to add some spacing at the top here, and we're going to make it medium width, and of course make sure that it is centered. We can again change the color to match the landing page there. So we'll go ahead and click on save on that. The next thing we need is our actual training or sales video. So I'll click on the video element here, and I'm going to drop in a Vimeo link. Now you can use YouTube, but I highly recommend going with Vimeo, even if you're using the basic plan, because you don't want things distracting from the training and the sales message. So I've gone ahead and saved my Vimeo link ahead of time, so I'll go just copy that and paste it right in there. And we've got our masterclass done. The last thing we want to do is come down to the button element here and change the text to something like learn more or enroll now. Now, something that you can do if you want to get fancy or find a developer to do this is there's actually some custom HTML things you can do if you want the button to drop at a specific point in time when the Vimeo video has been played. Again, that's something advanced. You don't have to do that. But if you want to go Google it, there are ways to do it so that the button only appears when someone reaches a certain point in the video. And if you'd want to do that, you would be using the extra custom code element instead of their button element for that. And then we'll go ahead and make this button a little bit bigger here. We'll just make the text larger and then the button becomes larger. Now we could go full width, but I think that's a bit much. So I'm just going to leave it like that. We'll click on save, and then we can go ahead and save and publish this page. Now, of course, we don't have a link for the Enroll Now button yet because we haven't set up our shopping cart, which is going to be the next step after we set up our emails. So right now, all we have is our landing page and we have our sales page or confirmation page. So the first thing we're going to do now that we have these two pages is actually link those two pages together. So I'm going to go ahead and come up with a URL here. And of course, keep in mind that this URL is something that your customers and prospects are actually going to be able to see. We'll go ahead and select our favicon again. And then again, we would need to add all of our analytics, Facebook and tracking code, whatever, Google Tag Manager. And we'll go ahead and click save and continue. And we're going to copy that URL, drop it into our funnel template here. I'll go all the way back up to the top for funnel links. And oops, I should probably fix that. There we go. Links, and then that's going to be our sales page. And so now we need to go back to our original landing page and tell MailerLite to direct people to our sales page that we just set up. We'll go back over to our sites here and we will go ahead and edit our first landing page. And so what we're going to be able to do now is tell MailerLite that every time someone enters their name and email on this landing page, we send them to our confirmation page, which is actually our sales page. We're also going to use that link in all of our emails. So we'll go ahead and click on our form element here, and you see button action. Oh, there we go. Button action is success page. We actually want to redirect them. Where do we want to redirect them? To our sales page. We'll go ahead and click save, and we will save and update. So now we are good to go with our landing page and our sales page. So if you're still watching this video, you're getting some value, hit that like button. Remember, this is a long one. There's a detailed timestamp table of contents in the description. So now that we have these two elements, it's time to go over to our automations and set up our emails. So I'm going to quickly go over down here to our template. So what I recommend doing is having 5 to 7 emails specific to the offer or lead magnet that you have on your landing page, and then drop them into your regular sequence or drop them into your evergreen newsletter or whatever you have, right? So I won't go into detail into these 5 email sequence. I'll link up in the description to a video that takes a much deeper dive on this, and of course you have access to this template. But the first thing we want to do here with our email sequences is, of course, create an automation so that when people enter their name and email on that page, they get 5 to 7 emails that build value, build rapport, and of course drive them back to our sales message. So we'll come over here. We have a bunch of random workflows in here, so we're just going to create a new one and we'll build one from scratch. It's very, very simple and easy. The first thing we need to do is, of course, give our workflow a name. I'm going to keep going with our funnel code here. Give it some sort of fancy marketish name, and then we're going to say when a subscriber joins a group. So this starts when someone joins our M34 sales group. And you can optionally check repeat workflow for subscribers who join the same group, For these types of sequences, I typically don't do that. What happens is sometimes people go through their sequence, you have some sort of special limited time offer, and then they think they can be clever by re-entering their email to try and get the offer again. I don't really like that. I like our scarcity to be real, so I go ahead and just don't send them the emails over again. So we'll go ahead and click on our first action. We're going to send an email immediately. So we'd define our email content, and then we're going to delay 1 day. So we set a delay for 1 day, and then we go ahead and create email number 2, and then we're going to select a delay 1 day. And I think you get the point here. We're going to send another email and then set it up to delay another 1 day. So I think I didn't set the day. Did I set the day here? Now I'll quickly click here so you can see you can actually have specific times a day. If you want to make sure that they only get 2 emails a week, you can make sure that it only goes out on specific days of the week. So if someone opts in on a Friday, they get a welcome email, but then the sequence doesn't start until Monday. So you can get overly fancy or complicated if you want. I'm just going to leave it at 1 day here. So we'll click 1 more day and we'll click on save. Now I won't go into the details of how the email editor works because it's just a real basic rich text editor, and you have the funnel template to tell you what these emails should be. What is important though is at the end. So after your 5 to 7 emails, you're going to want to click on action. You're going to either want to move them out of the group or copy them to a new group. I'll leave it up to you. I like moving them out of the group because if they've gone through the entire sequence and they didn't take us up on the offer, then obviously they're not as interested as we thought. So we're going to go ahead and put them in a different sequence. So I'm going to click on move to group, and this is at the very end, right after you've sent your last emails. We're going to move them out of this group, and we're going to put them into our group for all of our subscribers. So that's what you want to do. The reason that you do it this way too is you make sure that when someone first opts in, they're only getting emails in this sequence. So if you have newsletters, you have some evergreen content, they're not receiving that yet. They're only receiving this because you want them to take action on your specific lead magnet or sales message. And then if they didn't take action, or if they did, which we'll get to in a moment, then and only then do we want to add them in with everybody else and start sending them the evergreen content or the weekly newsletters. So that does it for our workflow here. Again, I'm skipping the email creation part for time purposes. I think you know how to write an email, or if you want more, again, link in the description to that. So we have our welcome sequence. Now, if we go back to our funnel template here, we need a sequence for those who actually bought. So we need to create a group of people who've actually purchased our product or service, and this is going to essentially be where your shopping cart connects to MailerLite. So I'm going to come back over here, and I'm actually just going to go over to subscribers to create our buyer groups. So I'll click on groups here and create a new group of customers. So whoever purchased a product or service. So in this particular instance, I'm just going to keep going M134 YouTube customers. So these are people who actually purchased our product or service, and then we'll go ahead and click on create. Actually, I'm just going to quickly change this because I keep going between two different ways of naming things here. So YouTube customers, okay, great. So this is going to be our segment for customers. So we can go back over to our automations here and create a workflow for people who've purchased our service. So we had a welcome rapport sequence. So now we're going to do an M134 customer onboarding sequence. And our trigger again is going to be when a subscriber joins a group. And of course the group we just made, YouTube customers, and we'll go ahead and click on save. We also need an action though. And the action we need is to remove them from the current sales sequence. Because if they go into this sequence, that means they bought, which means we don't want to keep sending them sales messages. So we're going to remove them from a group, and we're going to remove them from our M134 sales because they don't need to be sold anymore because they've purchased our product or service. So as soon as they join, they're removed from the other group, and then we can go ahead and send them a customer welcome email and any other emails we want to send our new customers, especially if you're doing some sort of drip content. Now I just realized that I made this a little confusing because I skipped a step. There's one other action we do need to take here, and that is to copy them to our main list because they've purchased and we want them to be on our main list who are receiving our evergreen content, and that's going to be the One Aspire Entrepreneur here. So if I go back over to our table, when they first opted in, we've added them to one automation and one group. Then when they bought, the buy sequence we just set up, we add them to our buy sequence and we add them to our main list and we take them away from our sales sequence. Now, if they get all the way down through the sales sequence and they haven't bought, then we just remove them from the sales group and we add them back into the main customer list for your emails. So I'm getting a little confused myself here. So that's why this diagram is here and that timestamp table of contents is here to help you out. So we'll go ahead and go back to automation. So we have our landing page, we have our sales page, we have our group for our prospects, we have a group for a customer, and we have automations for both. So we are all good to go on the front end. So up until this point, we have everything we need inside of MailerLite to get going. And again, MailerLite's free. You can check out the affiliate link in the description. Now, when it comes to actually collecting payments, you have a couple of options. If you're going the free route, then there is a service called Wave Accounting, which allows you to create a checkout page and people can just immediately enter their credit card information and then you will have to manually follow up with those people. That's the downside of that. Or if you have a course, you can use the free plan of Teachable, and that button on your sales page will lead people to your Teachable checkout where they'll be able to purchase your course. Now, of course, Teachable takes a hefty commission on their free plan, but it is free. So you don't have to pay anything, which is a huge bonus there. What I'm going to go through though is recommend using something called Thrivecart. Now, I won't go super in depth here because this has been quite a long tutorial, but inside of Thrivecart, it's going to be very easy for you to create a professional looking checkout. So as an example, this is what one of our checkout pages looks like for one of our services. You can see it's very clean and you can accept credit card information and PayPal. They also work with Authorize.net and a couple of other things. What we really like about Thrivecart though is the ability to create upsells. So I'm just going to go ahead and create a new digital product to show you how easy the setup process is. We'll go ahead and give our product a name. Let's say this is YouTube Training 101 Growth or something. You probably have a much better product name, right? You can give a quick little description here for yourself as an internal label. I'm going to use M134 again, and then we can come over here to pricing. When it comes to pricing, you can select the type of currency you have, and then of course set up the price for the product. There are a lot of different options, so you can offer payment plans, subscriptions, even a pay your own price thing. So I'll just do a one-time fee, and let's say this is going to be $4.97. You can also have a trial period, so you can get pretty fancy with how you structure the payment terms. Of course, I recommend keeping it as simple as possible, but that fancy stuff is there. They also have some tax things and the ability to send an invoice, which is something our clients really like because they like having an actual invoice sent to them. So that's a nice little feature. But when it comes to digital products, you don't really need to do that. You can also create something called a bump offer. And what this is a quick little offer you can make on your checkout page to essentially get an extra anywhere from $20 to $30 in value from the transaction. So if you're offering, let's say, an ebook or a physical copy of your book and say, hey, for just $10 or $15 more, you can get the audio version. If they check that, you've just made another $10 or $15. I'll go ahead and skip that for now. Payment processors, again, they work with Stripe, PayPal, Authorize.net, and a couple of others. And they also have their own affiliate system. So if you want to set up an affiliate system, you can and actually have affiliates. And Thrivecart actually directly integrates with Teachable, which is why I recommend them. We also had a MemberPress set up in the past, but they have a ton of different integrations, and then you can select your actual Teachable site and then select your course and whatnot. So let's go ahead and quickly go through the checkout page. Something that has been a huge update to Thrivecart that I'm so happy with is they finally allow you to have an editable live page builder. Wow, I've been talking way too long. There's a live, you can edit the page live. Just do it live, right? Just do it live, right? Okay, here we go. So multi-step, and let's go ahead and click on the design, go into the launcher. And once we have it loaded up here, you'll see it's a very similar interface as with MailerLite. You have all of these different things that you can drop in. So it's not going to be super customizable, but it's just enough where you can get this page to look exactly how you want. And of course, you can come over here and edit the success page as well. So that does it for how to put together your funnel. I highly recommend checking out Thrivecart. Again, I'll link up an affiliate link in the description. So if you do decide to click any of those links, we do get a small commission. And whatever software you use, make sure you download your own version of this template so you can easily stay organized with putting together your own sales funnel. So thank you so much for watching. Sincerely hope you have a much clearer picture on how to put together your entire sales funnel. So go ahead and drop your questions in the comment section below. I still read and reply to every single one, and we're hoping to do a lot more of these deep dive sales funnel videos in the future. So if there's something that we missed or something that you want to go deeper on, just let me know in the comment section below so we can improve the next tutorial. So hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already for more deep dives and click-by-click walkthroughs on exactly how to set up your sales funnels. And until the next, keep building the business you love.